Hello students, in my last video we have studied the root and the stem. That is, we are studying unit 2 structural organization in plants and animals. In that we have started with chapter 5, that is morphology of flowering plants. Now, morphology of flowering plants means we have seen that we are studying the external features of the flowering plants, that is your angiosperms. So, we finished the root and the stem. Today, let us start with the green photosynthetic organ of the plant, that is your leaf. The leaf, when we are talking about, the leaf is nothing but a lateral flattened structure born on the stem. It is going to be originating on the stem, or it is taking birth on the stem. It is lateral and it is going to be a flattened structure. It is going to be developing at the node and bears a bud in its axil. Node. So in a stem, this is going to be the node from where the leaf is going to be arising. That part of the stem from where the leaf is arising is going to be called as the node. Now this node is going to be having a bud. Bud is nothing but a small structure present on the node from where the leaf is going to be arising. Now, the axillary bud that is going to be there can later develop into a branch. Leaves originate from the shoot apical meristems and are arranged in an acropetal order. Now, what is this shoot apical meristems? About the meristems, we will be studying in detail in our next lesson, that is anatomy of the flowering plants. There we will see what are these meristems. Now only understand that is the meristems are going to be nothing but the continuously dividing cells from where the new plant parts can arise. So here the leaves are going to be arising from the shoot apical meristem, means the meristems which are present on the shoot. And the leaves are arranged in an acropetal order. Very important thing to understand. So what do you mean by an acropetal order? Acropetal order means the larger leaves are going to be at the bottom and the new leaves are going to be coming on the top. So this type of arrangement is going to be called as an acropetal order. Larger, older leaves are down and younger leaves are coming on the top. So this type of arrangement is going to be the acropetal arrangement. These leaves are going to be important vegetative organs for photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is going to be a process by which the plants are producing the food using the sunlight. So in this process is going to be taking place in the leaf. Coming to the parts of the leaf, there are going to be three main parts of a leaf. They are going to be the leaf base, the petiole and the lamina. So let us study each of these parts. First one, talking about the leaf base. Leaf base is nothing but this is going to be the part from where the leaf is going to be attached to the stem. So this is going to be the leaf base wherein the leaf is attached to the stem. Now this leaf base can have two lateral leaf-like structures called as the stipules. Stipules you can visualize over here. These are going to be the stipules. Stipules are nothing but leaf-like smaller leaves, you can say, which are arising at the base of the leaf. That is at the leaf base. So these are known as the stipules. Not all the plants are having the stipules. Only few of the plants are going to be having the stipules. Then, this case is going to be in the in the dicotyledons, wherein the leaves are going to be having this type of arrangement, the reticulate venation they are having. But when we are talking about the monocotyledons, example, you can take your sugar cane, you can take your wheat, you can take your rice plant. In that you don't have these type of leaves. Instead, we can see they are having long leaves which are going to be attached to the stem, which are covering the stem. So in the case of the monocotyledons, the leaf base is not going to be present only at the tip, but instead it is expanding into a sheet covering the stem wholly or partially. So here you can see how the leaf base is going to be covering the stem halfly, so that it is going to be arising the leaf at the top. Also in some leguminous plants, example can be your pea plant or any your cereal plants, that is your moong dal, tur dal, or your pea is nothing but your green vatane, what we call. So in those plants called as the leguminous plants, the leaf base may become somewhat swollen. So a swelling type of thing can be found. This type of swelling is going to be called as the pulvinus. So pulvinus is going to be a swollen region in the leaf base found in the leguminous plants. Coming to the second part, that is going to be the petiole. Petiole is going to be that which is helping the leaf to hold. That is, it helps to hold the leaf blade to light. It can be called as the stalk of the leaf. So petiole is holding the leaf blade, that is the lamina, to light. It is going to be long, thin, flexible, and this structure of the petioles is going to be allowing the leaf blade to flutter in the wind, that is move in the wind, because of which there will be cooling effect, and also the fresh air is being brought to the leaf surface. Because of this petioles, the leaf can move, you can say. The leaf blades are able to move with the air. Then, the third part is going to be the lamina, also known as the leaf blade. This green expanded part is going to be called as the lamina. This lamina is going to be having the veins and the veinlets, that is going to be the subveins. The middle prominent vein is going to be called as the midrib. This is going to be called as the midrib. The main vein is known as the midrib, and these midrib is going to be having veinlets, that is the subveins it is going to be having. These veins that are going to be there, these are going to be providing a skeleton to the leaf, that is, it is providing the rigidity to lamina, and also it is acting as channels for the transport of water, minerals and food materials. It is acting something like the pipelines to transport the materials to the leaf and from the leaf. So that is going to be all about the structure of the leaf. That is, it consists of three main parts, that is the leaf base, the petiole and the lamina. Now coming to the next part, in the lamina, as we were studying the veins, the study of this veins is known as the venation. So venation is nothing but it is going to be the arrangement of veins and veinlets in the leaf lamina is known as venation. How this arrangement is going to be there in the different types of the leaves, it is known as venation. There are two types of venation found in the leaves: reticulate venation and parallel venation. Reticulate venation is mostly found in the dicotyledons and parallel venation is found in the monocotyledons. Reticulate venation. Here you can see, here the veinlets form a network. So you can see the reticulate venation, how the midrib is going to be present, and from these many veinlets are going to be coming, which are forming a network like structure in the leaf. It is mainly seen in the dicotyledons. Examples, you can take your groundnuts or cereals. You can see the dicotyledons are having reticulate venation. Second is parallel venation. Here the veins run parallel to each other within a lamina, and it is going to be found in the monocotyledons. Here no network, instead the midrib is present and the veins are going to be running parallel to each other. So this type of the venation is known as the parallel venation. You can see this type of venation in your banana plant or in the sugar cane and in the rice, etc. Now, coming to the types of the leaves. There are going to be two main types of the leaves. They are going to be simple leaf and compound leaf. The simple leaf is the whole leaf, whenever it is present, it is the simple leaf. When one leaf is again divided into some leaflets, like this you can see over here, it is known as a compound leaf. The compound leaf is again further divided into pinnately compound leaf and palmately compound leaf. Let us see each one of them. First one, simple leaf. Here a leaf lamina is entire or whole is going to be called as the simple leaf. So when incised, the incisions do not touch the midrib. So here you can see that there is going to be one complete single leaf. It is going to be called as the simple leaf. Then the compound leaf. So compound leaf is when the incisions are nothing but the cuts. Here you can see this is a simple leaf. The incisions are there, but it is not touching the within. It is not dividing the leaf. So this is the simple leaf. Whereas in the compound leaf, these incisions of the lamina reach up to the midrib, breaking it into number of leaflets. So suppose this is the leaf, this is going to be your midrib. Herein the incisions are going to be in such a manner that they are going to be reaching the midrib. As a result, the main leaf is going to be divided into many leaflets. You can take the example of your curry leaves, that is your kadi patta. It is an example of a compound leaf. Or you can take your neem plant. It is an example of the compound leaf. So a bud is seen in the axil of the petiole in simple and compound leaves, but not in the axil of the leaflets of the compound leaf. So how you can differentiate between a simple leaf and a compound leaf? So in the case of the simple leaf, you can see that the leaf bud is going to be present. Wherever the leaf bud is going to be present, it is going to be called as the leaf, main leaf. So in the simple leaf, you can see that the bud is present over here, and even in the compound leaf, it is going to be present only here at one side, at only where the leaf is attached to stem. Whereas at the leaflets, these buds are not present. So they are known as the leaflets and forming the compound leaf. The compound leaf are of two types, pinnately compound leaf and palmately compound leaf. Pinnately compound leaf. Whenever in this, the number of leaflets are present on a common axis called rachis, which represents the midrib of the leaf, is known as pinnately compound leaf. As you can see over here, the midrib of the leaf, known as the rachis now, is going to be containing the leaflets, like you can see in the neem plant. So this type of the leaf is known as the pinnately compound leaf. What happens in the palmately compound leaf? In this, the leaflets are going to be attached at a common point known as a petiole. At the petiole of the leaf, that is at the stalk of the leaf, the leaflets are going to be attached. So that is going to be called as the palmately compound leaf. So here you can see this is going to be the palmately compound leaf. Example is the silk cotton. Here there is not divided, that is the rachis is not present. At the midrib also is divided into leaflets. So this type of the leaf is known as the palmately compound leaf. So pinnately compound and palmately compound leaf. So the leaves are going to be of two types, simple leaves and compound leaves. Compound leaves are again divided into pinnately compound leaf and palmately compound leaf. Now, next coming to the important term, that is phyllotaxy. What is phyllotaxy? It is the pattern of arrangement of the leaves on the stem or branch is known as phyllotaxy. How the leaves are attached on the stem. Arrangement of the leaf on the stem or the branch is going to be called as phyllotaxy. There are three patterns of arrangement, that is there are three types of phyllotaxy: alternate phyllotaxy, opposite phyllotaxy and whorled phyllotaxy. First one, alternate phyllotaxy. In this, a single leaf arises at each node in an alternate manner. So at each node only one leaf is going to be arising. You can see here one is going to be arising, at this node next leaf, again at this node the next leaf. So in an alternate manner the leaves are arising. This type of arrangement is known as alternate phyllotaxy. You can see this in the case of the plants like the China rose, mustard are nothing but mohri or your sasvi what we call. So, and also in the plants like sunflower. Then the opposite phyllotaxy. In this, a pair of leaves arise at each node and lie opposite to each other. This type of arrangement can be seen in Calotropis and Guava, Peru. You can see the opposite side. At each node, two leaves are arising from a single node, which are opposite to each other. So this type of phyllotaxy is opposite phyllotaxy. The third is going to be the whorled phyllotaxy. In this, more than two leaves arise at a node and form a whorl. Whorl is nothing but a bundle or a bunch. So like this, at one node, many of the leaves are arising. So this can be seen in the plants like Alstonia. In this way, there are three types of arrangement seen in the leaves of the plants, that is alternate, opposite and whorled. And the arrangement of the leaves on the stem or branch is known as phyllotaxy. So this is going to be all about the phyllotaxy. Now coming to the modifications of the leaves, let us see how the leaves are modified in different plants to perform various functions. The main function of the leaf is photosynthesis, we have seen that. But apart from that, there are going to be certain functions performed by the leaves. There are three main important. First one, they can form tendrils. You can see here, instead of a leaf, they are forming spring-like structures known as the tendrils. Leaf tendrils are different from the stem tendrils. The leaf tendrils can be observed in the pea plants. So here, instead of the leaf, when the tendrils are coming, it is known as the leaf tendrils. They are helping the plant to climb wherever there is going to be the climbers, velichis hada. So they are helping them to climb on the support. Then the leaves can be modified into spines. Spines are going to be present for the defense. So they are providing the protection. So instead of the leaf, they are forming the spines. So example is going to be the cacti. Then they can form the fleshy leaves. Fleshy leaves are going to be there to store the food. You can see the example is onion and garlic. So this onion and garlic, you can find these type of structures. These are actually the leaves of the plants which are modified for the storage of the food. So these are going to be few modifications. Apart from this, there are also some specific functions. Like here we can see in some plants such as the Australian acacia, the leaves are going to be small and short-lived, and their petioles are going to be expanded and become green and perform the photosynthesis function. So instead of the leaf, the petiole, that is going to be the stalk of the leaf that is going to be there, is going to be performing the photosynthesis. So here you can see this is going to be the leaf, the normal leaves. And the stalk of the leaves is going to be expanding and performing the photosynthesis. Then, another peculiar example of modification is going to be the insectivorous plants. The plants which are eating insects. So, in these cases, the leaves are only getting modified to form the traps to catch the insects. Example you can see over here, a pitcher plant. Cup-shaped structures with a flap is formed with the help of the leaves. The insect will come and sit over here and the flap closes. The insect gets trapped inside, dies, and the plant is digesting that insect. Another such example is going to be the Venus fly trap. You can see here. Again here it is a leaf modification. So in this way, the leaves are going to be modified in various ways. Apart from photosynthesis also, they can be modified to perform various functions like for providing support, for photosynthesis, for protection, for your insect catching, that is the insectivorous plants. So this is going to be all about the modification of the leaves. So with this, we finished your leaves. We studied the parts of the leaf, we studied the types of leaves, we studied what is venation, we studied phyllotaxy and modification of the leaves. In the next class, we will be starting with the important part, that is the flower and the inflorescence. The flower and the inflorescence will be important from your exam point of view this year. Because as far as the cutoff syllabus is there, from that the flower and the inflorescence will be there for your exam. So important from the exam point of view. This we will be studying in my next video.